Hi everyone! Today we will get acquainted with the best, in my opinion, program for editing videos, Davinci Resolve. Why is this program the best? With help of Davinci Resolve you can edit videos, do color grading, work with sound, create effects or use them from an already existing library and save videos in different formats. And all this can be done absolutely free of charge in the free version of the program. Only some functions are not available in this version, but if you are a beginner, you can easily work without them for a long time. But you can also buy the paid version, and there is a huge plus. You pay once and this program is completely yours. You will not need to pay a monthly subscription. In addition, Davinci Resolve can work on Windows and Mac. It's quite optimized. So let's start. We are opening the program and the first thing we see is a list of our projects. We create a new project by clicking on the first empty rectangle or by clicking the button below. When you first install the program, you will accordingly have no project. The only option will be to create a new project. A new project has been created and we can see the workspace on the Cut tab. We will not edit video here, but if you want, you can work here as well. The program developers position this tab as a space where you can edit something quickly. But in the main tab, it can be done no less quickly and conveniently. At the same time, there are more options. Here at the bottom, we can choose different tabs. We have a Media tab, Cut tab, Edit, Fusion, Color, Fairlight, and the last tab, Deliver. In the Media tab we can upload all of our content, but you can do it all at once on the timeline, like I do. Therefore, let's immediately go to the main tab for editing. Edit. This workspace consists of different sections that we can resize. We can choose different tabs with tools, depending on which one we need at the moment. This zone is called the timeline. To move the video here, open the folder, select everything we need and drag it to the timeline. Holding down the cursor, we can move along the video, quickly viewing its content. By pressing play or space, we can play the video. To stop the video, press the spacebar or stop again. We can also move along the video by pressing the arrows to the right and left. This can be useful when we need to clearly cut or crop a video with the precision of one frame. To cut video, we can click on the blade and then point it at the video and click. Or we can use the hotkey and turn on the blade by pressing the P key. To return to the normal mode, where we can just drag the video, we need to press this arrow or press the A key. Of course, it's better to use the hotkeys during the editing process keys. This will greatly speed up the process in the future. But at the beginning, you can move the cursor over this or that icon, and you will see which key you need to press to enable function. You can also customize your hotkeys. For example, I made some changes when switching from Windows to Mac. To do this, click on Davinci Resolve at the top left and select Keyboard Customization. Here we can check which key is responsible for which command and set our commands. The main thing is that they are not duplicated. Another important and convenient function is snapping. This magnet is responsible for it. Perfectly, it should always be on. With this feature, when we zoom in on a video to a nearby file, it seems to stick to it. This way we can be absolutely sure that we didn't remove anything extra. Because if this function is disabled, one piece of the video cuts the other one. By the way, to cancel the action, as usual, we need to press the Ctrl Z. So we can also cut the video in this way, pushing one piece of video on another. We can also clip the video edge and trim the video in this way from the beginning or from the end. Here we can find all files that was uploaded to the project, even if we deleted it from the timeline. We have effects a little lower. Here are video transitions, audio transitions, effects and text. For example, to add subtitles, we need to drag this rectangle with the inscription text over the video. To scratch the timeline in length, we use this slider. Click on the text and on the right side we can enter the text we need, choose the font, color of the text, add the background or stroke, change the size, align it to the side or center. By clicking the settings button, we get to the menu with which we can set where the text should be placed. Also, the titles can be moving. We can see a preview, an example of how the credits will look. These can be titles with various effects offered by the developers of the program. There are templates in which we can enter our text, make some changes. For example, we can change the color or font and customize the example for our tasks. To add a video transition, click on the video transition. We can also see a preview. For this, we set the slider between videos, return to transitions. We move the cursor along the effect and we can see how it will work approximately. To add a transition, drag it to the place where two pieces of video join. It's important that each of the videos still have a supply of frames that will be used for the transition, otherwise the transition will be not added. We can adjust the duration of the transition by making the transition rectangle on the timeline smaller or larger. Or we select this rectangle and in the menu on the right, we can also more finely adjust the settings of effect. Similarly, we can add audio effects. Click Audio Effects, choose an effect, drag it to the audio track. Open the settings, we can change them or leave them by default. To return to adjusting the parameters, highlight the video and select the Effects tab in the menu on the right. In the Audio section, we can edit our audio effect. We can layer videos one on top of the other by lifting the second piece of the video onto the second layer. At the same time, the audio horn will be lower. To unlink the audio from the video, click on the video with the right mouse button. In it, we should select the last item, Link Clips, and remove the check mark from it. Now we can move the audio and video tracks separately if necessary, or we can delete one of them. To change the transparency of the video, we need to select the desired piece and in the menu on the right, reduce the opacity. We can also reduce the transparency at the beginning or at the end of the piece. For this, we move the cursor to the upper left or right corner, pin the white marker and drag it to the side. In this way, we can achieve the effect that the video gradually starts from the dark or conversely ends with a gradual darkening. In addition, we can use this interesting transition by placing one video on top of other, while the top video should appear from the transparent. We can also change the volume of the audio at the beginning or at the end. We can change the overall sound level by lowering this line in the center of the audio track. We can also highlight the audio and change the volume in the right menu. These are the main functions and tools that we usually need during editing. The next tab in Davinci Resolve is Fusion. It's actually like another app within an application. In fact, we can call Fusion an analog of After Effects. Here you can create various effects, motion graphics. The Fusion tab deserves separate attention and a separate course. The next tab is color. Videographers always spend a lot of time here. In general, the Davinci Resolve was originally created as a video coloring program. In this, Davinci has no equal even now. There are a lot of tools with which you can achieve incredible results in color grading. On the top left, we have several tabs: Gallery, Luts and Media Pool. I usually have the Lut tab open. These are video presets that we can use for color grading. There are also standard Luts here. You can also download Luts. During my work as a videographer, I developed and created my own Luts, which can be purchased. I leave the link below. To the right we see a preview of the video. We can play it, see how the video looks with our color correction. In order to see the before and after effect, click on this icon. Let's go back. To the right is the space with nodes. These are such rectangles. By default, we have the first serial node. To add a new one, we need to press Option S or click on the node with the right mouse button, select Add Node, Add Serial in the menu. For example, we can add a regular serial node or a parallel node. This will mean that the changes made in each of them will be equivalent in relation to each other. We can also add a layer and create a node where all the changes we will make will apply to the selected area. In general, we make one change in each of the nodes. We can assign nodes to avoid confusion. Select Node, label Nodes in the context menu and Sign. Above the nodes, we also see several tabs, several sections. We can change our workspace, add certain functions. For example, we can also enable to timeline if necessary, add or remove clips. But in my opinion, it's better to see exactly which video we are currently processing. Add or remove nodes or enable effects. We can drag any of them to an empty node and a window will open on the right with parameters that we can change according to our preferences. Let's go below. A few more tabs await us at the bottom left. The main one is the circles with which we can color the video. But there are other tabs where we can essentially achieve the same effects, but with other tools. The third tab is also colored circles, but here we can change the color of the sky, for example, or the light. Personally, I most often use the first tab for basic color correction. In the same area we can see tools as temperature, tint, hue, contrast, saturation and others. How to work with circles. The circle on the left is responsible for shadows, gamma for midtones, gain for highlights. Drag this mark towards the desired color, and the color of the video changes. In shadow, midtones and highlights. The main thing is not to overdo it. Also, with help of circles, we can adjust the brightness of the picture and the ratio of shadows to light, let's say. To do this, drag the lower gray slider to the right or left. However, other tools perform a similar function, and choosing the one you like the most. Next, in the bottom middle, we have a super tool called Curves. With help of this, we can change in the exposure and achieve the perfect ratio of tones. And we can also adjust the colors. For this, we need to disconnect the connection here. Now we can adjust reds, greens and blues separately. By switching between the tabs above, we can choose other tools with curves to control hues and saturation. Even higher is another set of tabs. Some functions, again, are duplicated. Our task is to choose the most convenient tool. This is a qualifier. With the help of an eyedropper, we can choose any shade and work only with it. Here we have masks, here stabilization, here we can adjust the sharpness. Here choose the level of influence of the preset, for example. And let's move on to the last part of our workspace, This is scopes. This tool is very important for color grading videos. In a balanced frame with basic processing, there should not be a large difference between color levels. The tabs of the scopes indicate the level of the brightness areas. They shouldn't be too high or low, as well as the lower part, which is responsible for the shadows. This tool displays the frame schematically. By clicking here, we can choose other tools that work on a similar principle. There are not all functions, but this is a video introduction to the main ones that we will probably need in almost any editing. Go to the next tab, Fairlight. This is a workspace where we can process sound. Each sound track here looks like two tracks, right and left. The mixture is on the right. Column A1 is responsible for the first track, A2 for the second, and so on. By pressing the plus sign next to the effects, we can choose the necessary one. Then a window appears with parameters that we can edit. The main thing to remember, if we apply an effect to a track, it will be valid for all audio placed on it. So if we want different audio to be processed differently, we have to move the other audio to other layer above or below. I also remind you that we can do some basic things in sound processing in the Edit tab. Go to the last tab, Deliver. This is where rendering takes place, that is video storage in the form of a single file. We can enter the name of the video, determine where exactly it will be saved, choose the file type. We can save a video clip or audio. Now you can see the settings I usually use when rendering video. The format can be QuickTime or MP4, and this codec. Video resolution. This option depends on the resolution in which it was recorded and in which you want to save it. For example, if you have a Full HD video, you should save it in this resolution. If it's 4K, then you can save in 4K or in Full HD, depending on your tasks. Frame rate, the number of frames per second. I output 24 frames, but you can also choose an option depending on the footage and your tasks. I usually leave everything else as standard. Davinci developers also offer us already saved standard settings. We can also use them if necessary. When all the parameters are entered, all we have to do is press this button. On the right, we see that our video is ready for rendering. All we have to do is highlight the borders of the video at the bottom if there is needed. That is when there are other videos on the timeline, in addition to the video that we need to render. In this case, we should move the limiter to the required place. And all we have to do is click Render All, and the video is saved. That's how we got acquainted with the Davinci Resolve, with the most balanced, in my opinion, program for editing videos. Thank you for watching the video to the end. See you in the next video.